Dear friends and guests of the German Center of Venetian Studies, dear participants of the workshop John-Cage, The City and Chance, Sounds of Halberstadt, Sounds of Venice, dear Rainer Neugebauer, dear Christoph Ogiermann, dear scholarship holders, dear all, good afternoon and a warm welcome to the Palazzo Barbarigo della Terrazza. I'm very excited about our special meeting today because we are going to experience the realization of John-Cage's Sounds of Venice, which was prepared in a workshop first in Halberstadt, a town in Saxony-Anhalt, and now here in Venice. So we have acoustic reflections, rispecchiamenti, Widerspiegelungen, also beyond the lagoon. I would like to thank everyone who made this encounter possible. I assume the first artistic scientific partnership between Halberstadt and Venice. Our former scholarship holder and art historian Karina Pawlow explains briefly how this came about. Afterwards, artistic director Christoph Ogiermann will give us some opening thoughts on the composition, which will last around 45 minutes. And after the music, we will have a talk. Buon ascolto.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard, for the kind introduction, and to the whole team of the Centro also for helping organizing and hosting this premiere of an event. Very brief note from my side, art historian, why am I standing here? It was a very Cagean kind fashion that made this event happen. Two chances, so to say. Me happening to growing up in Halberstadt in Germany, and then in my percourse of my biography as an art historian, happening to be a grant holder to study Venetian glass here at the Centro in 2022, where then the idea was born to basically intersect these two sides of sound, Halberstadt and Venice, inspired by the Sounds of Venice by John-Cage, the reinterpretation of which you will listen to in a couple of minutes, I guess. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you to everybody who made this event possible, and we will go on with the thanks after the show, I think much more. John-Cage was very much into time and duration. This was the reason was because he tried to integer everything that is sounding into his pieces. As he found out that there is no silence, because even if no one speaks here, and the longer we listen, the more we hear. It's like in the stars in the sky. The longer you watch the sky, if there are no clouds, you see more and more stars. And this is the same with sound. The longer you hear, the more you hear, or even you listen. Maybe there is a difference between hearing and listening. So, in exactly 6 minutes, we will start the piece, because everybody who's joining in has a stopwatch, has his duty things to do, what he and she found out by her and himself to do. And so the result of the 47.7 seconds, 47 minutes, 7 seconds, no one can control. Not me, not a mastermind. It's an event that is only once and once for all. So if you think you don't hear anything, just listen more closely. And you will find that at least there is just one sound, at least in your ears. Maybe this is your own nerves. You listen to, it's very high. If you're old like me, it's losing. But yeah, there is still. Okay, and because I have 5 minutes left, I can tell you a story and then we start. When I was at the Hochschule für Künste in Bremen, I was taught by a piano teacher, and he was a composer himself, but he didn't like it too much what happened in the 20th century after 45, maybe from the 40s and then went on. So the point was that he was very angry at me because I didn't practice too much, maybe, and he said, hey, what is new music? What did it bring to? Huh? There was nothing interesting, nothing good. What is it? What is it? And at that moment I had a kind of inspiration and I went to a window and I opened it and I said, listen. And he said, don't exaggerate. What are you doing? What is it? And I said, yeah, the art of making music changed in the 20th century, at least in the second half, from setting the right tones and the right place and make compositions to the art of listening. So you are doing the artwork. We are just doing the sounds. So in exactly 3.5 minutes, we will start. Till then, we have the sound of the room and maybe your nerves. And there's something going on. It's my nerves. Okay. Thanks for listening to me, but now listen to the art of work you are doing with your ears. Have a nice 47 minutes, 7 seconds. Thank you.
Fingerschnitt, Moment, wurde aus dem Jahr 25 auf der Website plötzlich das Jahr 2040. Vielleicht sagt das schon recht viel darüber aus, die Grünen für die Stadt umbauen, aber bedacht wirken, nicht zu vergessen. Im Programm also, das fiel meine Kollegin Dani Kanzel auf, sendet die Partei einen Clip an. Sie verweist auf Best Practice Beispiele, um zu zeigen, was für Potenziale noch in Hamburg sind. Wie in Frankfurt wollten die Grünen eine Meldestelle über die betreuten Mieten einrichten und bei dem Gebäudemanagement das Energiesparprinzip aus den Niederlanden importieren. Das Ziel ist natürlich mehr Qualität. Diese Liste ließe sich fortsetzen, besonders ist die Idee Hamburg Blocks heraus, nach dem Vorbild Barcelonas. Gemeint sind automatische Quartiere mit mehreren Freiflächen. Das Konzept wird in Offenburg erprobt. Falls Sie Dennis Thielen heißen und CDU-Bürgermeister werden wollen, müssen Sie jetzt ganz stark sein.
Auf dem Friedhof lebt eine Kolonie Silbermücken, schlohweiß und furchtlos. Dämonen aus der Unterwelt, geboren im Reich des Todes. In der Lagune verlaufen unsichtbare Straßen im Wasser. Das sind die Schiffswagen, die verlegt waren. Eine Doppelreihe massiver rechtlicher Holzpfeiler. Sie müssen genau in dieser Höhe fahren, sonst geraten sie in Seite. Höhlen ruhen sich auf die Treppen auf. Jeder hat der eigene Reich von jedem Umsonst nannten die Bewohner der Serenissima, der durchlauchtigsten, sich selbst Serenissimi, was auch so viel heißen kann wie von krankhafter Gelassenheit, betäubt, wie in Trance. Du brauchst eine ganz dunkle Sonnenbrille. Schütze dich, denn Venedig kann tödlich sein. Die ästhetische Radioaktivität in der Altstadt ist extrem hoch. Jeder kleine Fleck strahlt Schönheit aus. Was schlecht erscheint, ist zutiefst feindlich, unerheblich. An allem ist es zu Hause anschließen, und auch das ist ungedenkt. Kleine Brücken in das Talent und nicht Frauen. Die Fassaden der Paläste springen einem unweigerlichen Auge. Die Schönheit erschlägt und Ohrfeigen. Was handelt es?
John-Cage, Sounds of Venice, really, our sounds. A big applause to all the performers. Monika Jeckel, Maxi Richter, so come here to the stage. Anna Schneider, Theresa Rickes, Simon Hilse, Justin Volkmann, Hinau Hüfgen, Baljan Rote, Ashley Lindau, Stefan Bücking, Nina Tronier, Mirella Vendrell, Paul Zoder, Marina Sandwald. Your applause. So you come please one time to this part so we can see you all once again. Thank you very much. Young performances of Halberstadt. So now we can make a photo and one applause again, please. Dankeschön. So now we come to the second part of our encounter, and I would like to invite our two speakers to the stage. We have time to deepen many questions which arose of this performance. So I'm very happy to welcome really two proven cage experts which we have with us, Christoph Ogiermann and Rainer Neugebauer. Both have already done very much in terms of music and thinking about music. So I will limit myself to only a few references, and maybe we can have also our backstage lights. So we have, for more than 20 years, Rainer Neugebauer taught as professor of social science at the Harz University of Applied Studies in Halberstadt, and he was founding dean of the Department of Public Management there. He is engaged in politics and culture, and this is very important of our context. Rainer Neugebauer is chairman of the board of trustees of the John-Cage-Orgel Foundation in Halberstadt. Only some remarks for Christoph. Christoph Ogiermann has many talents and is involved in many artistic fields. He is composer, curator, teacher, visual artist, reciter, singer, and of course, keyboard player in the fields of free improvisation and conceptual improvisation. He is involved in many cooperation activities, working with groups for concerts and for theory debates like, and this is important for us, the John Cage Interpretation Award in Halberstadt. As we already heard, Cage was very into time, very into silence, and also very into chance procedures. And so let's make chance also the master of the dramaturgy of our talk. We would like to talk about 5 topics. And so I have 5 cards here. I would like someone from the audience to choose one of these cards so that we can start with our conversation. It's only one card, and give it back to me. So we have already our first topic. Thank you very much. So the first topic is about John Cage and Venice. The 30-year-old Cage became acquainted with the painter Max Ernst and also Peggy Guggenheim in New York. In 1949, he received Guggenheim Fellowship, which enabled him to a trip to Europe, where he met in Paris composers like Pierre Boulez and Olivier Messiaen. So the question is, was Peggy Guggenheim the one who brought him to Venice? Please.
This is a 4. Oh, sorry. Yes? No? Yes? You can hear me? Yes. Number 4 is, oh, this was a very good question. I don't want to spoil it with an answer. This was a Cagean way to make a discussion. He prepared, after his lecture on nothing, it's 45 minutes, the same length as the piece we heard about nothing and silence. And after this lecture, he said, we want answer some questions. And he prepared the answers of the questions before. So normally this was the answer, but it doesn't work. Yes, so Peggy Guggenheim, yes, he was not for Italy, but for Venice, very important to bring Cage in the art and music scene. In 1942, John Cage with his wife Xenia, later he lived with Merce Cunningham, the very important choreographer of modern dancing. He went from Seattle to New York, and he don't find a cheap flat there. So Max Ernst and Peggy Guggenheim invited him and his wife to live for 2 months or some weeks in their big New York City home. Yes, and they are very close together, and it was a life of art, music, and parties. Yes, Peggy Guggenheim was very good in parties. And sometimes later, Peggy Guggenheim invited Cage to make music, to make a concert in her gallery. And Cage says, no. We don't know really why he said no. But I think it was a point that Peggy Guggenheim later wrote in her autobiography, and she said, I can't really say that I love the music of John Cage, and I think Peggy Guggenheim also don't understand the idea behind the music. And I think this was the reason for the interruption in their relationship, but they get a new friendship later. Cage first was in 1949 in Italy, in Palermo, at a festival for modern music. There was no pieces from him performed, but he was something like a reporter. he wrote an article about this, a review. And then in 1955, the first performance with David Tudor and piano pieces from him. It was, I think, in Milan. And then in 1958, in the end of 1958, in 1959, he was invited by the Italian radio and television. They had a studio for modern music, electronic music in Milano. And Cage was invited there, and he wrote the piece Fontana Mix there. And the friends, the Italian friends of John Cage, told him that there was a show, TV show in the Italian TV. I must have a look here. It was, I try to say it in Italy, Lesce o raddoppia. Lesce o raddoppia? Lascia o raddoppia. Sorry, I don't speak. Yeah, it was a quiz. Something like in German, it's who will be a millionaire, and you can say I named the little money or I doubled the risk, yes, and so Cage was very interested and was a specialist in mushrooms, and he was a co-founder of the Mycological Society of New York. In 1962, and he knows all the scientific names of the mushrooms. And in 5 weeks, every week there was a show, and he is going to the show and answered all the questions. And the TV made a deal with him, and he said, "Can you make some pieces of your music?" And he wrote, on the one hand, Sounds of Venice, and in January 1959 he lived alternative in Milan, or when he lived in Venice by Peggy Guggenheim, yes, in her half palazzo, and he recorded the sound of Venice with chance operation. Yes, and we will talk a little bit later about the chance operation. And the other piece was water music, or water walk. There are no tapes from this, yes, and the piece of Sound of Venice was a 3-minute piece for a TV performer, and it was Cage himself. But if you go on YouTube, there is from Waterwalk, there is a 6 or 7 minutes scene from a year later in an American quiz show. I've Got a Secret was the name. And you can see the spiky Cage, the so-called spiky Cage. He has a very spiky haircut, and he has a very cool man. Yes, he has a serious, sweet, and jacket and a tie, a white shirt, and this was the Cage they can see in Italy.
Thank you very much. So we can see that Cage was very acquainted with the Italian culture, with Italy, knowing Italian television shows. Thank you very much. You want to add something? No. Okay. Then we go to our second topic. Maybe Karina would draw a card. Thank you. And now let's see. It's about a very interesting topic, which we could ask ourselves in 2025. Cage has long been regarded as one of the leading figures of the post-war avant-garde. Now, in our days, the question, has the reception of his work changed in the meantime? How relevant is he still today? So a question for both of you.
Yeah, to say something in general is not possible. I think in our times the bubbles are getting narrow and narrow. That means we have a lot of different scenes, but I think there are a lot of bubbles who refer to John Cage. John Cage is often meant to be a nice old man. He wasn't. He was later on sometimes, but he was also a very political guy. He was in the 60s, he was a Maoist, and he tried to become a real political composer. And I think the point is here and now that in our situation we are now in, John Cage could be very, very important to be a kind of a forebild. What is a forebild? Model, yeah, he's not a model. No, he's a model. Yeah, okay. So he could be a model. I'm sorry. Shall I do something with the thing? Closer. Oh, I'm sorry. So that he has this impact totally on the thing to say, okay, there is no Herrschaft. There is no thing, nobody can say what is the best, what is the good for everybody. So he was an anarchist, one could say. And so his music is anarchistic. That means that he has this idea of anything that comes together in a concert, for example, like this. What we did, maybe we can ask the players also how it was, that we could just say any contribution to this time of the concert is okay. We had once a problem. We had a problem because I do so-called free improvisation. This is very difficult to explain what this is, free from what. But the thing was, we had a bad problem. There came a drummer. And this drummer, he was drumming like hell. 3 hours. So that was a thing one could say, hey, could you be a little less? Could you? No, he said, no, my father always was bad to me, so I have to do it. So he did it once. Then he came back next week and did it again. And we couldn't do anything about it because it was, everything is okay. Yeah. So third time we said, hey, maybe can you just play on one drum? Yeah, he did. And he did it three hours. Fourth time, and then it's over the story, it was really that he said, hey, I'm alone. Why don't you join me? Yeah, because you're so loud. So he learned after 4 times, so we need 4 concerts with him, it was a kind of session, 4 sessions with him, that he came to us. But we need that time, yeah? We need all that time at the moment. And I think the political situation, you might know, in Germany, yeah, is not better than Italy. And it's getting worse after the 23rd of February. And I think Cage is one of these artists that has a lot to say about anything that has hierarchy and has this, I'm the better one, I'm the better race, I'm the better whatever. And so what we could learn today even the vaporetto, normally it's, oh yeah, okay, we have the nice music, oh, vaporetto is too loud. No, it was fantastic that it came in. So anything was included. And we can include, with Cage's ideas, we can include anything that might be not fit in the culture. No, this is the new culture. Anything fits in. Especially in German, we have to learn it. So this is what I would say about Cage.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe you want to add something?
For me, Cage is one of the important artists, not only a musician and composer of the second half of the 20th century. And his radical ideas and his radical questions are open now yet. And in German there is a sentence by organist, the most organist played in church, yes, you know. If you never had empty a church with a Cage concert, you don't know what modern music is, yes. And the classical music is music who tells stories, who gives memories, who gives ideas, yes. And the music of John Cage, he loved sounds and nothing but sounds. And you can hear the sounds, yes, you can listen to the sounds, you can, maybe it's a little boring sometimes. Sometimes you feel that the boredom is in you and not in the music, yes. And though ever radical, never consequently, this is the anarchy and the freedom and the non-violency of John Cage, yes.
Thank you very much. So I've looked to the time. So we come absolutely to our third topic. Maybe you will take a card, yeah, and I will. Thank you very much. So our next argument has something to do with Sounds of Venice. We heard a real soundscape in the mirror of a composition. The sound events were precisely organized. What preparations were necessary? How did you and the performers collect the musical material? So the question is about what did you do with these Sounds of Venice? How did you do this?
Okay, I give you a short insight in his piece. These are 3 pages like this. You cannot see it in the back, I tell you. This is always 1 minute. 1 minute in 10 and 5 seconds parts. These are no bars. Yeah. And so there is written, for example, after 10 seconds, pour water into dishpan, ein Spülbecken. Yeah, you put water in a dishpan. Next thing, get cigarette put in the mouth. So this is a kind of theater thing that happens here. What did we do? We took the structure of the piece. That means there is something going on with the cigarette after 20 seconds. It's again on the 3rd page. He has to light the cigarette and smoke. They were allowed to smoke in a TV studio at that time. Here is open fire is even not allowed. So the thing is that we took this so-called structure. Something comes after a time. That means cigarette has, for example, the letter D. So the number D is coming back after a certain time. So this is our plan. You see, it's nearly the same, but without concrete actions. That means, first, everybody can choose 5 different materials. That materials can be just a kind of association to what he or she has found on the streets here. Or, like John Cage did it, he went, I'm quite sure he went through the streets here. For example, you have a bird cage. Yeah, you have to open and you have to feed the bird. And so on. I heard a lot of, and we had it on the tape here. So what he did was doing the tapes. We did the tapes here. This I made with chance operations. I said to one of the members, I said, okay, please, because with Karina, we went through the city 3 hours about. So one of the members had the task to say, after 25 minutes, you should record wherever you are, whatever happens, you have to record 26 seconds. This was all taken by chance operations. So this was what you heard from the handies and from the tape. This is what he did. We cannot find the places anymore because it's very something. But it's okay. So you don't judge. You don't say, oh, I don't like it. I don't want the bells. Yeah, you have the bells. You have to deal with it. Yes? And this is the thing what we did here. And we said, for us all, 3 minutes with so many people. No. You cannot hear all at the same time. No. It's one after another, and we need time. In Halberstadt, we played 60 minutes. Here it was 45, but the chance operation said, do it longer. So we had 47 minutes, 7 seconds. This is what we did. Everybody can see it here. Yeah, this is what I said.
So already the organization of the musical material was structured by chance operation.
So the organization was taken from the score.
Yeah, but the preparation of the musical material, what you did yesterday,
yes,
was also organized by chance operations.
Just
okay,
chance operations.
We tried two levels of operations.
As far as possible. The thing is, don't get it too far. The chance operation Cage used were always most of the time, put onto material he prepared in before. So he made a lot of choice with his taste. He said, no, I don't do it. It's not with the ego. I don't use the ego. Yeah, he did. Because the material he prepared in before was his ego. And then he said, okay, when it what is when, I take the jing. It's not for every piece, but for a lot of them.
Then, last chance. Maybe you choose one of these cards. Thank you. So, we already talked about, you mentioned Halberstadt, Soundscape of Halberstadt, as slow as possible. Since 2001, Halberstadt has been world famous for the longest running non-computerized piece currently being performed. We will all enjoy the final applause in the year 2640. Please give us a short introduction into this piece, organ, as slow as possible, and also this is maybe the background of our meeting here. So what is about the organ in Halberstadt?
Yeah, the last chord in this piece will be ended at midnight at 4th of September 2640. And you can buy the tickets for this, yes. They are limited, yes, and and another thing, sometimes of you know the star Betelgeuse, yes, I don't know, it's in Italy. It's in the Orion, yes. The shoulder of Orion is the biggest star, and this star is exactly 639 light years away from the Earth. So, the people who are in the last sounding, I can tell you, you only hear the bellows from the organ, because every piece, there are, or every part, there are 8 parts. Every part's ended with month of silence. No, not silence. There is no such thing like silence. The bellows of the organ will blow with this something like the air of the breeze of God, say the teleologian people in our project. Yes. So when the people came out of the church, they can look at the sky without clouds, and they see the light from a star, and this light was going up from the star, was sent from the star at the beginning of the project, 5th of September in 2001. 639 years, it's something like mirror experiment, because in 3061 in Halberstadt there was a famous organ, the so-called Faber organ. It's maybe the first instrument who has keys as we know today, with a 7 white and 5 black. Yeah, dividing the octave in 12 halftones, and this is the founding of the classical music. Yes, from the first times to Arnold Schoenberg. Yeah, 12-tone music, and for modern componists it was it was the fatal day of Halberstadt, because microtones, yes, to listen to very small distances, very small changes, and very small interruptions or so, they are out of the tradition, out of the mainstream, yes. And so we took this date from 3061 and the year 2000 as a mirror X, yes. 639 years to 2000, and we started in 2001, and 639 years it's ending in 2640 at the 4th of September. All the other things with our project are in the material. You had somebody had take it over. It's downstairs. You can read it in a very, very long version. When I told all the circumstances of our project, it will be maybe 639 minutes. It's too long for our discussion now.
You want to add something, or maybe some practical information, because it's really a fantastic thing. When you come to Halberstadt, we have this organ in the church, so there are opening hours, and you can. Yes. Maybe
we are opening every day without Monday. You must not pay any fee. Yeah, you can get in the church. The church is closed, and you ring the bell. Yeah, and is near the church is a big house, something like a Halberstadt Palazzo. No, with no water around this, and this is the cage house, and you can go in the Buhari church normally when the daylight is on, but if you're a friend of some of us, yeah, you can also go at midnight there, yeah, and you hear it 25 hours, 7 days a week, and it's over and over. And it's a very small interims organ. Only the pipes we need for the actual sound are in this organ. And when a chord change was, we pull out the pipe or put a new pipe in. Yes, and the last chord change was in 5th of February this year, the last year, 2024, and the next chord change is the 5th of August in 2026. The 5th is because the 5th of September is Cage's birthday, yes, and so you can listen to one single sound. The sound is changing in the room. Yeah, when you walk through the church, you hear on one point what we called interferences machine room. The two bass pipes, they are a half tone difference, yes, and there are many interferences. And you're walking 3 steps before or behind you, and you hear something like, oh, I don't know, Venedig Haber, Venice Haber, Hamburg Haber. Yes. And the longest non-interrupted sound was 6 years and 11 months, with no chord changing, and this sound was 11 months longer than it was in the calculation. I'm also one of the guys who made the calculation of the chord changes, and the first calculation was made for music students, and they made it something like this. Yes, and there we are 11 months too fast in the slowest concert of the world, and so, but we are German, so we made a new calculation, yes, and the 11 months came to the 6 years of the longest chord in the first piece. We only calculated the first piece, the first 71 years, yeah, because next generations must have also opportunities to make decisions, and yes, now and 4th of September at midnight in 2072, we give as correct Germans, yes, with on the point, yes, and to the next generation, and they can calculate the next 71 years. And the second, maybe, or the third piece, one piece will be repeated in our calculation, and Cage says in the performance note for the piano piece, who is the ground, who's the basic of this organ piece, you can always play the repetition before you play the piece. You can the repetition of the third piece or third movement before you play the third movement, and this is the question to the musician: how to play simple music, simple organ piece one time so it's sounded like a repetition. This was Cage.
Thank you very much for bringing this information to Venice. It's fascinating to imagine a piece and an encore of this piece. Yeah. And now you know what to do in Halberstadt. We have one last card, and this question brings us back to the composition we heard, Sounds of Venice. Some remarks on the genesis. We already talked a little bit about this. In 1959, John-Cage signed, we saw this, the score, Sounds of Venice, interestingly in Milan and not in Venice. So it is, and it was a composition for solo television performer. We heard a different variation of this piece. So what is a little bit the idea behind the history of the composition?
Yes, since the 1950s, the first half of 1950s, Cage worked with chance operations. He made it with dices, or at first times with coins, yes, and then he made the Chinese oracle I Ching, yes, it's some. So I will give you very shortly 5 ideas from John-Cage, and there is very important. I think they're good for understanding this, what you heard today. The first thing, I must not tell many things about it. Christoph says something about this. Normally, the classical music exists on tones from musical instruments. And in the modern music, in the second half of the 20th century, all things they sounded are material of music. Also, the sound of the motorboats, of the vaporettos, yes? And in his formerly days, Cage made a difference between noise and sound, and in the later years he only talk about sound. Yes, he say the sound of traffic. Oh, what wonderful! Yeah, he lives in New York in 6th Avenue, 18th West, and he opened the window and you hear it. Everything is sound. There are no sounds. Yeah, the material for the music was wide and open. The second time is there is no interpretation by John-Cage. He loved sounds and nothing but sound. And the sound must not going on, the sound must not going ended. They must not connect it with other sounds. Yeah? He wants to hear the sounds. And this can we do in Halberstadt very extremely, but also here. Yes, sometimes you have only one sound and hear from the sounds here in the room, and you can listen to the sound, and you must not think about it. What does it mean? Yeah, what is this history? Are there memories with the sound? Yes, and the next thing is Cage was interested in new sound he had never heard, and it's a little bit a counterpart and contrapunct to Christoph, but I think it's very important, the chance operations. He took the chance operations as a method to protect him for his own likes and dislikes. He says, what I have in my head, this is the old thing, yeah? I want to hear the new things that I never heard, yeah? It's also for the visual arts, yeah? I want to see the new things I'd never seen. So, and when you work with chance operations, you need a lot of discipline, because your 2,000-year education in music and the 12 tones are in you, yeah. And you know, now it must be a B flat, yeah. No, and the chance operations say no, it's a G sharp, yes. Yes. We are all interested in ideas of sounds, of what tell the sounds us. Yeah, I have a look at you when between the concert, and some of you when you heard sounds in the back, yeah, they looked back. They have the idea that they can understand the sound better when they saw how it was made. Yes, and so And this is where the chance operations also in this piece, yes, and he made the chance operations to the places where he made the tapes, the recordings, and also the score was written by chance operations, and yes, and there I think it's enough for this, yes.
Thank you very much. So maybe Christoph, you would like to add something? Yes.
Small thing. It's a question. When I see the score of this piece, it is very, very clear. When there's minute 1:25, you do this. And now the question. And this is the question also to the members of the group. Maybe we can discuss it afterwards in the meeting. Does it make a difference if it's 25 or 26? 1 minute, 25, 20. Sure, it makes a difference because it is written. If we have a real situation of where anybody has its own score, there is no central score. There is no hint how the result should be as a total. Yes? That there is a mastermind who said, this should be at this time, this should be at this time, and this sounds together, for example. It doesn't make a difference because the result is unique. It is only now and here, and never again. This I had a lot of quarrel with people because they say, yeah, then it's not a work. It's not kein Werk in German. Yes, it is not. I'm happy. It's not a monument. It's just a moment in time. And so the discipline you were talking about is in preparation of the thing, but the moment is free. So I think in this context of the cage pieces, we're in a situation which is very new because we will never, okay, it was recorded, thank you, but nobody will erleben, what is erleben? Experience, will have this experience again. It's just you in your position of the space. It's totally different from this position. You're in the back. There is no central position. There is no king's place where you hear the mass totally and with all the counterpoints. No. So many people here, so many pieces it was. And so we are in a new situation. This situation is not culture anymore, what we know about culture in before. And so this is maybe what we could call a new culture of the uniqueness of freedom. Wow, good sentence.
And I wish you with John Cage empty mind and happy new ears.
Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing John Cage back to Venice. You are invited now to go on with the discussion, having a drink. The salotto is already prepared. So thank you very much for your open-mindedness, for your concentration. And you're always welcome at the Palazzo Barberio della Terrazza. Thank you very much.